Hello and welcome to
Dusty VCR!
The podcast where we rewatch old movies from our childhood and decide whether they still hold up. I'm your host, Michael Lynch, and I'm joined by my co-host and sister, Rachel Lynch. Rachel, how are you?
I'm tired.
Oh, I'm tired. Great start. Another great start to the podcast. We're on a streak of very high energy, high mood kickoffs.
I've been going for 12 hours.
12 hours is not that long. You've been awake for 12 hours?
No, working.
This isn't work.
Working.
This is relaxing.
You don't tell me how to podcast.
That's true.
Oh,
dear.
Well, I haven't been working the whole time through.
Yeah.
I tell you
You've been
what, but I've been
podcasting.
I've been
dancing.
Active,
for the listeners at home, Rachel is vigorously dancing in the studio,
doing backflips.
Doing backflips. All right, and we are also joined by our friend and co-host Zena Dreyfus. Zena, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I don't got much. I was just at my storage unit, which is down the street from your house.
Oh, really? Is it just my garage?
Oh, I've used that storage unit.
Have you?
I mean, this maybe not the unit, but that lot.
Yeah, so it was real
for drug deals.
Yeah, that's why I was there. And it was so cold out that I couldn't open my lock, my padlock. And so I was so crafty, I poured my hot tea on it and broke into my storage
MacGyver.
unit. Yeah, but it was fun. It was kind of spooky there,
yeah,
you know. So
it's fun to do MacGyver stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, we are joined by comedian and writer Sean Noah. Sean, welcome.
Hey, everybody.
How's your week going?
Busy. It's just a lot is happening.
Yeah.
I graduated from college.
Yeah, congratulations.
Finished college. In a weird mood right now because right before I was here, I was at an immersive theater piece a friend of mine put on. That was all about grief and death.
Ooh.
It was really, really incredible actually to be there, but also very sad.
Yeah.
Very emotionally affecting. I was like shaking for a lot of it.
Yeah, bit of a shift coming from that.
It's a different kind of thing. So so I'm adjusting to being here instead of at that.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're about to move to New York, right?
I am about to move to New York.
Have you performed in New York before?
Yep.
Where do you like to perform?
It's hard to say. When you're not like a very experienced comic in New York and you're like performing at the places you're able to perform as that. Not a lot of them are great.
Right.
I've done shows I've liked at the Greenwich Village Comedy Club.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking New York, like the whole state of New York, my favorite place I've performed is I did a show at a coffee shop in Valley Stream, New York.
Oh, nice.
It's a coffee shop that you wouldn't make up because you'd be like, this would be a hack bit to describe a coffee shop. There were lighting fixtures made out of string lights and mason jars.
Right.
And it used to be a record store.
Yeah.
And they wore that on their sleeve.
Right.
And the host set up a fake brick wall backdrop. It was just like a screen with fake, that just looked like a brick wall.
Right.
On a small frame.
To make the comics feel more at home.
Yeah. And I super bombed there. I did not do well on that show at all. And it was not a great show, but I loved performing there. 10 out of 10 I would recommend.
Just for the experience of it.
Go to Sip This in Valley Stream, New York. This is sponsored content.
So growing up, what was your relationship like with movies?
I watched a lot of movies. I look back and I think that's weird. I think how did I have the time to watch so many movies when I was watching so much television? I watched
real overachiever.
A lot of TV all the time, just constantly.
What were your shows?
When I was a kid, I would watch anything in the world that was about superheroes. There was a time, when I was a really small child, I refused to watch any show that wasn't a cartoon. I was like, no, these are our things, so I'm gonna. I was like, cartoons are the kid thing.
Yeah.
I was really angry that adult cartoons existed. I was like, they don't get to have this. when I learned about South Park, I was like, that's wrong. They're stealing from us. But like my first live action movie would probably be one of the Harry Potters.
Oh, yeah. Were you really into Harry Potter?
No. Like compared to a lot of people my age, I was never like into Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like a time when I realized that Deathly Hallows was coming out, and I realized like I'd seen every Harry Potter movie, and I like hadn't paid attention to any of them and only had like a vague idea what actually happened in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just spent like a day getting deep into Harry Potter lore on Wikipedia,
Mm-hmm.
some of which I have found out was just wrong, and I'm like very surprised that that didn't get fixed quickly. Like I just feel like I feel like there are a lot of Harry Potter fans who edit Wikipedia articles.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
So what were the movies that you were into?
Definitely The Iron Giant. That'd be a big one. I watched the Digimon movie a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah.
That was the first movie I got yelled at for watching, not because of the content of the movie, but because it was like too nice out when I watched it. I was like, I'm gonna put on the Digimon movie. We only have it for 3 days. And my mom came in and was like, no, the sun's out. It's 2 PM.
Were your parents into movies?
They weren't like movie nerds.
Mm.
There were definitely like movies that were like a point of connection with my parents. Spaceballs was a big one with my dad.
Yeah.
I watched Spaceballs with my dad from maybe too young an age to have been watching Spaceballs, and we watched it a lot. And that, like the thing is, my parents are sort of opposites in that my dad is the kind of person who can watch the same movie like a ton of times.
Yeah.
Like if it's a classic, he can rewatch it just like whenever.
Right.
And my mom is kind of like, no, like if I've seen it, I've seen it. And like,
Right.
I think she'll bend when it comes to like movies sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but like a lot of the time it's like she's not, especially comedies. I think she's like a certain amount of time needs to have passed.
Right.
Right. Like been there, done that.
So she won't do our podcast.
I've actually never seen Spaceballs.
Oh yeah, that was one of the ones that you picked, right?
Yeah.
Were you sad that we didn't pick that?
No. Well, can I talk about all of my picks?
Sure.
Sure.
Because it was a long list. It was mostly movies I had not seen.
Yeah.
A lot of movies I had not heard of. I'm, I guess, a lot younger than y'all.
Well, some of the list is like movies that pretty much nobody else has heard of outside of our family.
And most of the movies I haven't seen on the list.
Yeah.
I did not watch a lot of movies, so.
Okay. So I picked the 3 that I was like, I can say something about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It was Spaceballs, Galaxy Quest, and Liar Liar.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I actively do not like the movie Liar Liar.
Oh.
Sorry if that's...
Oh, I almost wish we did it so we could fight about it, because I love Liar Liar.
I mean, it's like, it's not like offensively bad. To me, it feels like it's the most on movie on television. Like there's no movie I have just turned to a channel and seen more. Like it's the Criminal Minds of movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Spaceballs, I watched a ton, like over and over again. And it was like I say, I was too young to watch it, but it definitely like had silly and over the top enough humor for me to appreciate as a child. Like the humor is very, very in your face.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I don't know if I would appreciate it as much if I'd seen it for the first time as an adult.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you see Spaceballs before you saw Star Wars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had the same experience where like I didn't understand what it was parodying. And then I saw Star Wars and I was like, oh.
I definitely hadn't seen Star Trek the first time I saw Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
And I was like kind of worried, like when the pick was Galaxy Quest, my first thought was, well, objectively, this is, of the 3, this is the best movie. But I was also like, I don't know if I have enough childhood memories associated with this.
Yeah.
And then as I was watching it for this, I realized I watched Galaxy Quest legitimately when I was too young to understand a lot of things that were happening. Like, I guess I was really young the first time I saw it. There were so many things I like straight up didn't get, and it kept like hitting me. Like the moment where the Thermians are locked in the room and
The
air's
air,
getting taken out. Sigourney Weaver looks at the screen and says, like, they're suffocating. And I just flashed back to, like, when I was watching this for the first time as a child, and I had to ask my parents what suffocating was,
Oh.
which was messed up. I don't know. Like, I had no idea what Star Trek was when I watched it for the first time. when I like asked my parents what the movie was that was on, because they were watching it without me. I was like, they said, this is Galaxy Quest. And I was like, what is that? And they're like, well, it's like, you know, Spaceballs.
That's
but
such
for
a funny
Star Trek.
comparison.
And it's so not really. I like,
yeah.
Like, I get that was like
right.
my frame of
makes
reference.
sense, right.
Like, I appreciate that was like how they could explain it quickly.
Yeah.
I think I had heard what Star Trek was, but I didn't really know. So they were like, well, you know, like what Spaceballs was for Star Wars, this is for Star Trek. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was not Spaceballs.
I have still never seen Star Trek, so I don't really know how it's parodying it that much, other than like just the look of it.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I don't think I have seen Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know it was a parody of Star Trek till
Oh, really?
now.
Zena, what did you know about this movie before you watched it?
Nothing. I never heard of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And did you guys watch the trailer?
We
Tricked
have
again?
something to reveal.
What?
For
We
the
watched
first time ever.
this movie.
Separate.
Oh, no.
Our schedules didn't match up.
Oh,
we
this is
had
the
to
Dusty
watch
VCR
it
first.
separately.
Oh, that's why you guys were hugging so much when you came in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been really hard. Just like I told you, it's been a hard week.
Yeah, Xenoless.
Don't worry, listeners. We're not splitting up.
No.
It's just temporary.
They still love you very
be
much.
Apart.
It's not your fault, listeners.
I'm messing up everybody's schedules.
And so, Xena, did you on your own watch the trailer, or you go straight into it?
Now that I think about it, I done forgot to watch the trailer.
You didn't have Rachel supervising.
Yeah, I didn't have Rachel there to do it for me, so I forgot.
So, Rachel, what did you remember about this movie?
I remember just really enjoying the basic premise of it.
Yeah.
And really liking the aliens and their little mannerisms. I remembered really liking Tony Shalhoub's character.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one's that?
Tech Sergeant Chen. He's the guy that's in charge of engineering.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
he's
the
sort
very
of like,
low-key one.
yeah, like, hey, so we're out of fuel. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
I remembered him being great, and I didn't really remember why. I
Yeah.
just remembered knowing that I liked him in the movie.
Right. Yeah, I remember with this movie thinking that it looked terrible. I think it had a really bad advertising campaign. I actually should have gone back and watched the trailer myself, because I remember the trailer made the movie seem really unappealing. I didn't understand from the trailer that it was tongue-in-cheek. I thought it was supposed to be like a straight kids sci-fi movie. And I was like, that seems dumb. I don't want to see that. And then I think just by word of mouth, people started being like, no, it's really good. You really should see this movie. And so we watched it and I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. So we'll start with Sean. How do you feel like it held up?
The thing is, this is not my first experience rewatching the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like one of those movies that's like on TV a lot. So I've seen like fragments of it a lot over the years. But I remember there was a moment, probably freshman year of college, where one of my friends put on Galaxy Quest and I hadn't seen it in like years. And my first thought was, oh God, I remember liking that movie.
Yeah.
But is it really bad because Tim Allen's in it?
Right.
Like, I was so terrified to see any of Galaxy Quest again because Tim Allen was the star.
Right.
I was like, oh shit, has that, like, does he do good movies?
Yeah.
Is that, and then someone reminded me Alan Rickman was in it, and I was like, okay, is that enough to cancel him out? Like, does that work?
Yeah.
And Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah. This is my long-winded way of saying, like, I think it held up, but but in a weird way. Like, I felt a lot of things. Like, I feel like it leans in a lot of directions, but it doesn't, like, there's a lot of things that it like, maybe doesn't fully commit to.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, pretty much everyone is having such a fun time in the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
That it's like, okay. I don't know, like, none of the main characters really seem to have an arc.
Yeah.
But it's just solidly enjoyable to watch the whole time anyway.
Right.
Also, it's really funny to me to watch Tim Allen see Saris come on screen and be like, oh my God, that looks real because it so doesn't.
Right.
I think one of the reasons I liked it as a child was because Saris looks like a Power Rangers villain, and his ship looks like a specific Power Rangers villain, which I think is a little bit damning.
Right. Yeah, that was the thing I was surprised by, is like I thought a lot of the graphics looked very good, like considering, but the Saris and all those troops stood out to me as looking really silly.
Yeah.
A lot of it looked, just on the visual level, looked really silly to me. But the actors sold being actors who are put into this position and like this is the most real thing they've ever seen. And so I was like able to like be along for the ride while they were doing that.
Yeah, suspend disbelief. And Xena, what did you think?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was so fun and sweet and lighthearted.
Yeah.
As you were speaking, Sean, I was realizing I think I really enjoyed it because like I wasn't that emotionally invested in anything. There was no like giant, heartbreak or trajesty. It was just like a fun...
No trajesty.
No trajesty. Is that the word of the day?
We'll make it the word of the day.
Do you know...
Trajesty. Listeners, look that one up.
Tragic travesty.
That's in the Xena dictionary.
We are selling on our website now. I'm gonna pump out the merch in the Xena dictionary.
I didn't even know it wasn't a word, so these guys started laughing. But yeah, it was great.
Yeah. And Rachel, what about you?
I'm
surprised you even have to think about it. Just say it's great.
I think I was just thinking about trajesty. Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what you did? Do you know what you're doing?
I don't know what I did.
So it's 2 words: tragedy and travesty. Trajesty.
I think it's a good portmanteau.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty similar words, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it.
You seem not as enthusiastic as I was expecting.
What?
I got caught on a loop. Somebody hit the omega-13.
I was expecting there to be more alien fun throughout.
Wow, this is a big surprise. I thought you were going to be the most enthusiastic.
I may have been slightly influenced.
Yeah.
I watched it with Alex, and at the end of watching it, he went on this whole spiel about...
Oh, dear. Alex is not allowed to watch with you anymore.
He was like, the thing about this, I wish I could remember exactly what he said. I just couldn't. Okay, so he was like, the thing about this movie is they're trying to parody Star Trek, but they're parodying the first generation Star Trek and the one with William Shatner and but then there's been several generations since the first Star Trek, and they're not including that in this parody, which had happened before this movie. And he
thought it was a disrespectful parody.
He thought it was disrespectful, but it got so much more in depth than that, and I really wish I could. I stopped listening, and I just was like with my mouth hanging open. Like
letting your enthusiasm wane.
I really was not sure if he was doing a bit to sound as nerdy as possible, or if he was just being so nerdy.
Right.
It was the latter. So he had some issues with it. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I did enjoy it. Yeah, at the beginning, there's so many good alien fun times.
Yeah.
And I love their quirky times.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
They're so cute. They're
cute.
incredibly endearing.
So what is it? I was trying to figure that out. What is it about the aliens that makes them so endearing?
It's really hard to put into words, but there's the moment where they're first trying to explain what being an actor means.
Mm-hmm.
And the aliens are like, oh, you're talking about lying. Like, yeah, we know about that because Saris does it. And then he says, like, if you're trying to tell me you could have any traits in common with Saris, then... and like just sort of the way that they like break down and like stop speaking when they're like overwhelmed with any kind of emotion, combined with like the surprise, like I want to know which actor like did it first, because they like get pretty consistent with the like bizarre way that the aliens move and talk.
Yeah.
And like I'm a very online person, and I feel like humor is that now, just like saying half of a sentence and then devolving into screaming. And so like we got to that point in the movie and I'm like, yeah, I've felt that. That's a past 3 years type of joke.
Right.
So I feel like watching the Thermians, it's just something I feel a lot now.
Yeah, I feel familiar. What was it for you?
So I have a theory about the Thermians. Yeah. That's not what they look like all the time. Right. That's their image translator or something.
They've made themselves look like humans.
Yeah.
But not quite.
But not quite. So that's the whole thing. Is like they're kind of like their interpretation of like what humans are.
Yeah.
So everything that they do is like, it's so close to being human.
Right.
But just not quite.
Right.
Like they get the idea of laughter.
Right.
And they get the idea of applauding.
Right.
They get how humans walk on 2 legs.
Right.
Did you notice that they walk like one side?
Kind of like marionettes.
Yeah, kind of like marionettes.
Yeah.
And so it's like all of these different traits that they have that are just so close to being human. And it's also with such an innocence.
They have just a sense of wonder about everything they see and hear and find out.
Yeah, and they just have the look of wonder on their face.
They're just so excited to be in every situation.
Yeah, and the fact that they don't lie. And that's that's like a strange concept to them.
Yeah.
It just makes your heart melt.
Right.
Yeah.
So it starts out, and we see this Star Trek-like TV show called Galaxy Quest, and it stars Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver and Alan Rickman, of course.
Tim Allen with a mullet.
With a mullet, yeah, and sideburns, and Tony Shalhoub. And then we jump to 20 years later, and they're at this convention that's like kind of like a Star Trek convention. And they're all washed up actors, and they're all kind of frustrated with the fact that they're still doing these conventions, except for Tim Allen, who is sort of a diva and loves all the attention. And then like the other thing I totally forgot about is like the aliens show up, but at the convention they just seem like other fans, and so Tim Allen assumes that they're just random fans. And alien that totally surprised me is Rainn Wilson. Yeah, I have no memory of him being in this movie. It's Dwight from
which one was
The Office.
Oh yeah.
He's not there that much, but he's one of the initial aliens that approaches Tim Allen. And then you kind of see him in the background later on in the movie.
Okay.
But this was his first movie too.
Huh.
Yeah, he looks like such a little baby.
Yeah.
It's a little baby Dwight.
He's such a natural in it. I mean, that hairline, they didn't even have to adjust it for his costume.
Yeah.
That's just, that also just seems like Rainn Wilson.
Yeah. It's funny looking at the IMDb for this and looking at who played aliens, because you look at all their other roles and it's almost all like aliens or supernatural. Like it's just they pick the people that kind of look weird like aliens, and they're like But then Tim Allen kind of brushes them off, and then they show up at his house the next day and he thinks they're just taking him to a gig. And there's the scene I love where they're so excited to meet Tim Allen, because they idolize Tim Allen because they think he's this real commander, and they come into his house and he's not wearing pants, and he goes to find pants, and they like while he's bending over and like just you see him like basically showing him their ass just in squatting down and looking for his shoes. They're like, being in your presence is the greatest honor we could ever hope for.
And they like never question any of it. They're never like, what, like, why are you wearing this and not your uniform? Or
they're just on board for the whole thing.
Yeah. And they don't know.
And then I love there's like a little joke where he's like, can you find another shoe that looks like this? And then they just stand in place and just kind of look around the room jerkily. I love that.
You know the Mathazar, you know who he is.
Yeah, he was in Just Shoot Me and Veronica Mars.
So that's a memory I have, is being so proud of the fact that I knew who that was.
Oh, yeah.
That was like...
that was the birth of you being able to do that in every movie.
I think I showed my powers before then.
Yeah.
But that is a talent that I have that I'm very proud of, is I'm very good at recognizing actors who are either in like heavy makeup so that they're kind of hard to recognize, or if it's an animation,
I
can
know
recognize
recognize. You better recognize
their voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny thinking back to the pre-IMDb days where that was the only option. Like, we needed a Rachel to tell us.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just had to like think it out and be like, I know that guy's in something.
Right.
Yeah, IMDb's ruined everything.
Yeah.
So the aliens take Tim Allen up to the spaceship, and Tim Allen is sort of blasé for a really long time. He's like walking around the spaceship, and he kind of offhandedly notices that it's looks real, but he just assumes that it's some kind of low budget movie or like TV show he's participating in. And then I forgot what makes him realize that it's real. Oh, when he gets transported back.
Yeah.
He's like awake for that.
Yeah.
And is like, oh, wow, I went through space. And so he goes and tells all the other castmates and is like, oh, there's like this real thing. And there's something I was confused about. They all brush him off and they think he's crazy or like, and then they're all talking to each other and they're like, did you really think he was talking about a job? And then they all kind of look at each other and they're like, oh, and they all run away together.
Yeah, because they think he's just talking crazy.
Yeah.
And then they think, wait, no, he's got a job for us. Like, we got to go get this job.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That they're desperate for jobs.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, they did just do the electronics store.
Right.
Right.
What a savings.
Okay. Yeah. Alan Rickman's always forced to say his terrible catchphrase.
God, I can't stop thinking there's so much that I love about By Grapthar's Hammer.
Yeah.
What a savings. Like, they could have gone with something more. They could have gone with what a deal. It's what a savings is. It hit me just the right way. Okay.
Yeah, and he's like, Alan Rickman is so perfect for, he just seems so tormented by the fact that he has to say this line, and he's been in his voice, he's been forced to say this hundreds of times in the last 20 years.
It just has a hard time getting out of his throat. It's like it's a physical performance of how much he hates this line and this character.
Yeah. Yeah, so they bring up his castmates and they all end up in the spaceship. Yeah, do you want to talk about that Tony Shalhoub moment?
Yeah, so Tony Shalhoub is kind of
just getting coffee while he's
trying to get a snack or something. So he's just kind of off to the side while everyone else is like, what the hell is going on?
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? What are we doing? And they all get shot into space, and then they're all like standing there shivering and freaked out and in shock. And then Tony Shalhoub comes along and what does he say?
I think he just says, oh, what's with them?
No, the first thing he says is, wow, what a thing.
Oh,
he says something like that. And then he goes up to Tim Allen and he's like, hey, what's with them?
Yeah.
And Tim Allen's like, I don't know, let's go. So Tim Allen is like pretty quickly on board. Like he's just like, yeah, this is cool. Let's go.
Right. Yeah.
Like not able to somehow sympathize with his castmates who all just went through the same experience that he just went through that was like so shocking to him.
Right. I bought it. Like I buy that Tim Allen, like this is what Tim Allen's been waiting for his whole life, to like actually have the authority that he gets to pretend to have.
Right.
Is like people actually believe that he really has this responsibility.
Right.
And yeah, there's a lot about this movie where it's like, it almost doesn't make sense, but I'm like willing to buy it.
I don't know. I think that moment works because I feel like he's like reveling in like being more used to it than them. Like it's not that he doesn't sympathize. It's like he's
just kind of being like, oh yeah. No, I know. Like, let's go. Come on.
Yeah. And so the other thing that's like kind of in that same thing of like almost doesn't make sense, but I am totally ready to buy it, is they explain that all the stuff, the ship and everything looks exactly like the show Galaxy Quest because the Thermians, the aliens, saw the TV show, they received these broadcasts and thought that they were historical documents and not like they don't have a concept for TV shows. And so they built all of this stuff modeled after what they saw on the TV show. And it doesn't quite make sense, but I was totally willing to buy it. And there's this moment that I love where Laredo, the driver, he's like, oh boy, I wouldn't want to be the commander here. A lot of pressure. And he's like, Laredo, steer the ship. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, they modeled the controls based on watching you pilot it. And like that kind of makes sense. I'm on board for that.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Like it's another great moment with aliens where they're like, they're all so excited to see Laredo, like the original guy, control the ship. They're like, oh, the crew is asked to come to the command deck, and they're all watching him. They're like, oh, to see a true master at the controls. And he's like driving into the wall. I love that.
Yeah.
And then they're forced to interact with Saris again.
Before we get to that,
Sure.
you're missing one of my favorite parts, which is when they're saying historical documents. It was a TV show, and they're like, the Thermians are not understanding what they mean.
Yeah.
They're like, haven't you ever seen any show, like TV shows like Gilligan's Island?
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
they're like, oh. They all get so like sad looking, and they're
It
like,
was so perfect too.
those poor people.
Before they even say anything, you just see all of their faces fall.
Like so upset. Like what a tragedy.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, so they interact with Saris, but the scene with Sigourney Weaver where she's enacting her role as the crew member. Zena, do you want to talk about Sigourney Weaver's role?
Right, her role is to repeat everything that the computer says.
She's like supposed to be the computer translator, but the computer just speaks English anyway.
Well, I really like the idea that the computer just like won't answer to Tim Allen.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they had a fight, so she has to be the go-between.
Yeah. But then it leads, so they realize that like they need a new source of beryllium, and they turn to Tony Shalhoub, who's down with the engineers, and he has this complicated plan that he's like very clearly repeating from what the engineer, they're like, it's like, if we recalibrate the flux capacitor and max it out to a different quadrant, we can find a new source of beryllium. And Tim Allen's like, yeah, let's do that. And then I love Tony Shalhoub turns to his guys and he's like, right again. Great work, guys. Bring it in.
For a group hug.
And he just hugs them all, and they're also like, they don't really know what to do with it, but they're just hugging him.
So sweet.
I love the like suspension of disbelief for like, oh yeah, thinking that this is all real kind of makes sense. You can like roll with it. And then when like they bring up the beryllium sphere as the source of power, then it's like the place you have to go is just that it's like, oh, well, as a consequence, all of the made up sci-fi shit from the show has to be real now because their fake power source, which is beryllium, which is like a real element, just has to be like a thing.
Yeah, and it matches, like it's a thing found in nature and space, and it matches exactly what the show had. Yeah, and then right after that, they get the beryllium sphere, and they're really excited. But then Saris has infiltrated the ship, and he has taken Malthazar, the main Thermian captive. And Tim Allen finally admits that it's a TV show, and like gets the computer to display the TV show. And Saris immediately gets
he gets it so quick.
Saris knows TV shows apparently.
He loves TV.
Saris has HBO or whatever it is.
HBO is not TV.
Yeah, that's true. And so then to torture Malthazar, Saris forces Tim Allen to explain to the aliens that he's just an actor. And Malthazar is so sad. And it's all so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the reactions that the Thermians have to just like anything is there's
like
something
that's
they're just like little babies. They're so just sweet and innocent, and when he hears that, he's just like opens his mouth and is looking so distraught.
Yeah.
Not like crying, but is just like if he had tears would be crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like kind of looking like he's like gasping for air.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole movie is about a lot of these actors being like, we were part of this like silly thing that we hate, and sort of like learning to embrace it and like figure out this is like why this kind of ridiculous thing is justified. Like this is why people love it.
Yeah.
And yet when Tim Allen has to explain like why they did it, when Malthazar is like why did you lie?
Yeah.
And he has to be like, on Earth we pretend to entertain. It just feels like such like a weak, like it's like painful. It's like he can't justify it.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole movie is doing. And I love that so much.
Yeah. It's like he's admitting to something dirty about humans, that like humans do this to each other. They lie to each other for entertainment.
Right.
Yeah. And so Saris apparently like just immediately loses interest in the Omega-13 and leaves the ship, but he sets it to explode, and he has his henchmen carry all the actors to some separate area of the ship. And then they kind of reenact this plan that they've done on the TV show where Alan Rickman and Tim Allen pretend to get in a fight, and then while fighting actually like hit the captors and steal their guns and stuff. The thing I thought was really funny, I actually didn't even really notice this. I was watching with Allegra, and she's like, is the way that they kill the aliens just to tackle them? Because that's mostly what they do.
Yeah. Like that was the big plan the plan didn't really make sense. Like as if the bad guys would be like so like, oh my God.
They're fighting.
Oh my God. What do we do? They're fighting.
They're such like big and bulky like military aliens, like, and they're just it's
coated in armor,
which is like fun. Like I was glad that it doesn't make sense, but like I didn't need it to
And so Tim Allen very quickly comes up with a plan where he assigns everybody a little job, and he and Sigourney Weaver go to end this bomb that's about to go off in the core. And they realize that they don't know how to actually get there. And so this is when Justin Long comes back. What did you guys think of this Justin Long return?
Oh, I enjoy that scene.
Yeah.
They kind of like get into like making fun of fans, but also have them like be the ones to save the day. So like, I don't know, it's like the movie can never be too mean because it's always enjoying itself and what it is too much, which I really like. So in like that scene with Justin Long where they're going through the ship, there's two parts that I like have very distinct memories of from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
When they get out of like the death trap maze on the ship that has no reason to be there.
Right.
And Sigourney Weaver is like, whoever wrote this episode should die.
Yeah.
I remember like that didn't land with me as a kid because like I watched so much TV where people like regularly like, did ridiculous shit like that I like didn't understand why she was like so upset to have gone through that. I was like, why is she so mad? Yeah. But then also the countdown, waiting until it gets to 1 to stop, and they're like, oh right, on the show it always stops at like they programmed it so that if you stop it, it waits until it hits 1. It's just so perfect.
Yeah.
Like, they're so into every detail of the show that they had to just get it all exactly how it was. There was a part in when they're going through that whole obstacle course kind of thing where Sigourney Weaver says, well, screw that. Yeah. Do you remember what I'm going to say?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea? Was anything weird to you, either of you, about that?
Oh, I guess I remembered, but it seems so like unmissable. When she says, well, screw that.
After they get out
I think
of the
it's
smash.
missable.
No, before they go in, he says they have to go through the chompers.
And she goes, well, screw that. Do you notice anything? It looks like
it doesn't even look like, it's very clear.
Well, it's very clear that she actually said, well, fuck that.
Yeah.
But they dubbed in screw.
Right.
So, and what's the rating on this movie?
PG.
It's PG. So they probably had that in and then were like, wait, if that's the one F-bomb in this whole movie, let's just take it out so we can make it PG.
Right. It's surprising that it's PG. Like, I was never conscious of the fact that they're trying to be clean. Like, the whole time it felt like just a regular movie for grown-ups.
Right.
Yeah, so I was actually pretty surprised when I realized it was PG. The one thing I do have a little bit of a complaint about is that this movie ends like 6 times. Like, everything kind of wraps up and they're like, ooh, whoo, and then like something new comes up. And they're like, oh, no, it's not over yet.
Yeah, I think that's when I started getting bored.
Yeah.
I wanted more alien fun times.
Yeah. But they go defeat Saris by like driving through the minefield again. And then Laredo, with his one time driving through a minefield, has gained so experienced that he can...
Well, he was practicing.
He was practicing for like 2 minutes. And so he's able to drag all the mines into Saris's ship, and then Saris explodes.
Yeah.
And I love the resolution with Mathazar, where you think Mathazar is going to be like really crushed still that he found out it's a TV show. But when Mathazar comes back, he's like, oh, what a brilliant deception. Oh, ha ha ha. Like, you told him that the ship was this big. Oh, brilliant. I love that. So satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, for so many reasons. You kind of like walk back the crushing defeat that happened to Mathazar because he gets to resume living his life as if Galaxy Quest is real.
Wait, what are you saying? What happened?
Yeah, I kind
saying
of
that-
didn't get that, but it makes sense.
Are you saying that Mathazar believes that the crew was lying to Saris?
He thinks that when they told Saris it was a TV show, they were tricking Saris, and it's all real. Did you guys not get that?
I did not get that. That's so great.
Zena, did you get that?
No, not till you said it.
Yeah, because Mathazar is like saying how funny it is. He's like, oh, the ship was this big, brilliant.
Oh, okay. I was just interpreting that as like him coming around the idea. Oh, I get it now. Yeah, TV. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But that's even better.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but then another ending is that Saris appears on the ship.
Right.
He's taken the form of Tony Shalhoub, and Tony Shalhoub starts shooting everybody. They've been talking about this Omega-13 throughout the movie. Justin Long tells them it goes back in time 13 seconds, or it destroys the universe. Tim Allen's like, I'll risk destroying the universe. And he goes back 13 seconds, and he's able to stop Tony Shalhoub before he starts shooting everybody.
Well,
Saris, yeah. Fortunately, Malthazar like whacks Tony Shalhoub / Saris with his cane.
And then they all turn their back on him.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, problem solved.
We want to go back to Earth.
I know. I was like,
we're taking your ship too, by the way.
Don't you have a gun?
Yeah. So yeah, they crash land on Earth. Coincidentally, at another Galaxy Quest convention where they were due to appear. And then we have yet another ending where Saris somehow like wakes up and
like, stop.
Tim Allen shoots
Enough.
Because I had fused those two in my head, going into that. I remembered that like the moment where Saris comes out as somebody else in a disguise and they have to go back in time, being at the convention.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it should have been. There's too many endings.
They could have just combined that.
So should we get into the whoops?
Let's do it.
So for Sean, we rate each movie in terms of whoops. It's how many times you would say whoop to rate the movie. You don't actually have to make the sound. You just say the number of whoops you would give.
Hypothetically speaking.
It's not out of anything. It's whatever your heart desires. So
Michael likes to do his out of 10, so you're welcome to do that.
We've had complaints from former guest Matt Woodland that when Rachel goes crazy and does hers out of 49 million, it's quote,
not out
makes
of
him
anything.
Crazy. No, but she goes up to 49 million.
Sure.
Matt Woodland has said that makes him crazy. So let's be considerate to our Matt Woodlands in the audience.
Yes.
So we traditionally start with Xena. So Xena, how many whoops do you give Galaxy Quest?
I'm going to give it 3 whoops.
3, okay.
Which is a really solid number.
Yeah, solid. Any particular reason for your whoops?
The cute aliens, how good I felt watching the movie, how cute it was, how I felt good.
Right.
And then there was the cute aliens, and it made me happy.
Yeah. And that adds up to 3.
Yeah.
And Rachel, what about you?
I would give this movie, to be perfectly honest with you.
Did Alex drag down the score?
No, what I'm trying to say is that I think I am feeling like my out of control whoop ratings are now making me feel a little bit out of control because I don't really remember ever what I've rated anything in the past.
Yeah.
What you kind of keep track for me. What did I give Multiplicity?
49 million whoops.
Okay. I'll give this 23 million whoops.
Okay. Decent. Anything you want to call out?
I love the aliens.
Yeah.
I love the whole idea of them being like this alien interpretation of what humans are like.
Yeah.
That really carries the whole movie for me.
Yeah. I'll give it 8 whoops. I love the aliens. I'll echo everybody else. I had fun all the way through. I thought the pacing was a little bit weird, and I'm bothered a little bit by movies where like things are bad for a large portion of the movie, and that's kind of this. There's not really a portion where they're like things are great and we're enjoying the spaceship. It's very quickly like, oh crap.
That's kind of my issue too.
Yeah, but yeah, I think you're right. The aliens carry it. So Sean, what about you?
I'm going to give it 4 whoops, because I think that was the number of times I had like a very audible reaction.
Yeah.
I think it was like, is there air? We don't know. What a savings. That just when it lingers on them looking for the shoe in the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever. I feel like I had a pretty good reaction to like when they beam up the rock monster. And then they're all watching and Tony Shalhoub just says, it's the little things in life.
Right. They really loved beaming up dangerous things into the ship.
Right.
It didn't seem like a great idea to bring in a rock monster.
No.
So now we're going to turn to our international segment. My friend Gabe Miner is currently in Poland, and he is surveying the movies there. And he's put together a game where you guys are going to guess the movie he's talking about based on the Polish title and the clues. So unlike the mom game where Rachel has special rules because she has an advantage, nobody really has an advantage here. Except for Rachel, because she's probably seen way more movies.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I probably still have an advantage.
Let's see how it goes. If you start winning, we'll put in a handicap. Okay, you guys ready for the first one?
Yeah.
Wirujące Sex, Swirling Sex, which stars Patrick Swayze. The word
Dirty
swirling...
Dancing.
Yep. I'm going to play the rest of that because I think his explanation is
to
fine.
the gyrations he makes, both horizontal and vertical.
And then Gabe also was kind enough to record congratulatory messages.
That's right, it's Dirty Dancing. I guess Poland is a more traditional society, and so, like the town in Footloose, they equate dancing with sex. And it's hard to deny that Swayze's hips do a lot of swirling in this film.
All right. So that's 1 point for Rachel. We might have to handicap her. Let's see how it goes the next one. Okay.
Podziemny Krog, Underground Circle, which stars Brad Pitt. Underground
Fight Club.
here.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I like Gabe's congratulatory message here.
Yes, it's Fight Club, right? Because when they're fighting, there's a circle of dudes around them. Actually, I think Circle of Dudes would have been just as good a translation.
All right. So it's 1-1, Zena and Rachel. Here's the next one.
Ja cię kocham, a ty śpisz. I love you, yet you sleep, which stars Sandra Bullock.
While you were sleeping.
I don't know why he did this. He knew we just did while you were sleeping. Classic Gabe.
Yes, it's while you were sleeping.
Yes, it's while you were sleeping. Okay. Ready for the next one?
Oof, maybe.
Najpierw strzelaj, potem zwiedzaj, which translates to shoot first, sightsee later, and stars Colin Farrell. The movie takes place in Belgium.
That's the whole clue?
Gabe had a very long clue that I thought would not be helpful to anybody, where he talks about Martin McDonagh. Yeah, from the... Gabe didn't do a lot of helping on this clip.
Shoot first, sightsee later.
Yeah. I think nobody's going to get it.
In Belgium.
7 Psychopaths?
No.
I don't know.
All right, I think this is a miss.
Yes, the film is in Bruges.
Fuck.
Oh,
That was...
that's what you were thinking?
I don't want to say it because you won't believe me, but yes.
I believe it.
I think it's funny that Gabe is saying Bruges instead of Bruges. It's like an Alicia Silverstone Haitian situation. Okay. Oh, 2-1 to 0. So Sean's just gonna...
Would have gotten that... I was in...
I got a good feeling for you for this next one.
W głowie się nie mieści. It Can't Fit in Your Head, which stars Amy Poehler. While making the movie, the producers consulted with numerous psychologists.
Inside Out?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love Inside Out.
I want to play Gabe's good joke.
Making the movie, the producers consulted with numerous psychologists for the film, not their own personal needs, as far as I know.
Ready for the next one?
Oh, we don't get a congratulations for that one?
I don't remember the congratulations for this one being that funny. But
Yes, I am talking about Inside Out. Fun movie. I really enjoyed it.
yeah.
Okay.
Here's the next one.
The next film features Diane Keaton and is called Lepiej późno niż później. Better late than never. Diane Keaton has made 4 movies with the writer-director of this film, who has not been accused of sexual deviancy. At one point, the movie puts Jack Nicholson's bare bottom on display thanks to his hospital gown.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's what I was thinking. No. It should really narrow it down. It's a director
Keaton.
who hasn't been accused of sexual deviancy. That's like 2 people.
What was the title again?
Better late than never.
I feel like I can see the poster, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
The Bucket List?
No.
Yeah, it's not that. What is
That's right. It's Something's Gotta Give by Nancy Myers. I love Diane Keaton in everything she does, and I'm pretty sure the turtleneck and bowler hat industries are still profitable, largely thanks to her.
So still 2 to 1 to 1. So we've got 2 left. It's still anyone's game.
Helicopter v Ogniu, Helicopter on Fire, starring Josh Hartnett. The movie was criticized pretty strongly for the brutal and dehumanizing depiction of Somalis in the film, and California's Somali Justice Advocacy Center denounced the film and even called for its boycott.
Josh Hartnett, it said?
Yeah. I feel like
Black Hawk Down?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I feel like Sean was at a big disadvantage. That movie came out when you were like 3.
I was thinking about it, but I've never seen it, so I didn't want to say it.
I've never seen it either. That was just
Yeah.
the only thing I could think of.
I like how some of these clues Gabe makes jokes, and then some of the clues are like brutal depiction of Somalians. Caused a lot of controversy.
Yes, I am talking about Black Hawk Down. This movie has a terrific cast, including one of my favorite actors, Željko Ivanek, whom I love for his name almost as much as I love for his acting. Željko Ivanek.
All right. We're 3 to 1. So Rachel's locked it. So we're battling it out for a second. I think this is one anybody could get. But let's see.
Szkoła Uczuć, School of Feelings, which stars Mandy Moore. I haven't seen this movie, so I can't give a great second hint, other than to say it's probably called School of Feelings because it seems to be the sort of movie that, as the kids say, gives you the feels. And this is a movie that is also based on a novel, but this novel is by Nicholas Sparks.
A Walk to Remember.
Yes.
You thought that would be anyone's guess? No way.
I guess that's kind of hard.
Also, I'm a big Mandy Moore fan, and you should know that.
Are you really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Do you watch This Is Us?
No, I
Oh.
should.
Yeah, I feel like it's your responsibility as a Mandy Moore fan.
She's the reason that I first cut my hair short.
Oh, let's hear.
Because in How
Yes,
to Deal.
it's a walk to
I
remember.
guess you don't care about that.
I didn't realize. I hit the button before. Tell me about How to Deal.
She has her hair short.
Oh.
It's so cute.
I'm glad I caught that story.
Which, again, I never saw, but I read the synopsis to write my clues, and I have no doubt that I would cry at least once or twice by the end of this movie. I am very easily manipulated by this sort of thing. I've cried watching episodes of Hey Arnold.
All right, so Rachel has it. Gabe has an outro message.
Thanks for playing, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you all next time, or, as we say here in Poland, na sabule.
So knowing Gabe, I'm pretty convinced Nasabula doesn't mean what he's making it seem like it means. I bet it means something obscene, but I don't know anybody who speaks Polish to like translate. So Gabe, I used to perform with in college, and one time he told us that he couldn't make it to rehearsal because of like Yom Hats. Nobody knew what that meant, but then like the director spoke Hebrew. He's like, day of cake? And he's like, okay, I made that up. All right, and that is the Polish game, and Rachel is our winner. And yeah, that's our show. So, Sean, where can people find you?
Well, my Twitter is at Sean Noah Noah. That's SEAN and then NOAH twice. No surprises there.
Yeah.
Everybody can follow me if they want to or not.
It's good to give people that option.
Yeah, you can find clips of me doing stand-up through my Twitter, so that's a reason to follow me on Twitter.
Yeah.
You can find my writing of a piece in bizarrocentral.com called Y2K, about the Y2K bug.
Oh, nice.
Kinda.
Uh-huh.
If you want to check that out, just search up my Sean Noah Noah Y2K. That's the extent of it.
Okay, great. So thanks everyone for listening. You can find us online at dustyvcr.com, or you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the DustyVCR. If you want to help our podcast seem more popular, you can rate us on iTunes, which takes about 2 seconds. You go to dustyvcr.com/review. You can also write us a review. If you do that, maybe we'll read it on the show. And that's all. So we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
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 Peace.